left a minute early by my clock.
Some of my GoPros are narrated and other ones aren't. Maybe I should plug my live stream. I'll let you do my, I have all these old photos that I didn't edit well back in the day, because everyone would complain that their 56K modems couldn't watch all the photos. So anyway, I've been going through all the old ones, and I do a live stream where I edit them and tell the stories of the stuff. I have like 90 hours of that up, but I'll let you know next time.
On Twitch?
No, it's YouTube. It's just because it goes in with the rest of my account. Let's find out where we are here. See, I got the scanner stuff. This is from the 90s. It's all got like Conrail, Santa Fe, Burlington Northern. I think we're in Washington District.
What year was the BNSF?
Mid-90s. I actually had, I was able to, I got in enough so that as a kid my dad got me some Santa Fe stock, and then it turned into BNSF, and then it turned into Berkshire Hathaway. That's how that works.
Our next scheduled station stop approximately 49 minutes now will be Charlottesville. Our next scheduled stop 49 minutes.
A little bit longer than I thought for Charlottesville.
Alright, I'll pilot this run through Orange, and then I'll turn it off, and then I'll do it from Seville down to Lynchburg. I'll see if we can get the rest of that out. Oh, there's they might have replaced them. Those NS was trying those wind-up signals for a while, and everyone hated them. Yeah, they replaced them. They're the ones that they were like, oh, instead of a ladder, we'll have a cable, and it'll like winch the signal head up and down, and that's how we change the bulbs. But you had to take the whole signal out of what they didn't realize, that by the rules you had to take the whole, instead of just it being a dark signal, you had to actually take the signal out of service. Like you had to be like, all right, the signal is now gone. For the time you were doing it, it was a lot more paperwork.
Cool rock cut.
It looks like it's a tunnel was here that got daylighted. See, in the Superliners in the last car, you'll have that trash can that you can just I can put my binder on. I wonder what the original alignment was. Probably not the cut, but I don't know. Maybe it was the cut.
I feel like it should make Orange stop since they have to go so slow.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
Have you ridden the Cardinal?
Yes.
I'm not sure if they changed it, but for when I first took it, and then every other time, it was 40 miles an hour from Orange to Gordon. Like,
it was when I first rode it was 10. That stretch was limited to 10.
Wonderful.
And then it was upgraded, and it was upgraded again, and now it's 60.
Oh, the Orange to Gordon.
Orange Gordon's.
Wonderful. So I guess it got down to 10.
yeah, it did.
But I think I don't think I came out here with my dad once, or maybe I did. But all I remember, I think I did came out there with my dad. But yeah, I just was like, what's going on? Why are we going so slow? It was like it took like an hour to go from Gordon to Orange.
Yeah, that stretch I think is called the Washington Subdivision.
Yes.
Formerly C&O.
It's one of those things where you look up and it's like we haven't moved.
Yeah.
So I have
and they've done a lot more welded rail on the Buckingham branch since I first started riding. They used to call it the Boppity branch. The jointed rail.
See, but it makes it feel faster. The fastest I ever felt on a train was on the Harrisburg line.
Yeah, going 60 on jointed rail is...
Well, on the Harrisburg line, if it's well maintained, jointed rail should feel as smooth as welded. It just takes a boatload of maintenance.
Yeah.
On the Amtrak Harrisburg line, they effectively had not done any maintenance since like the 1960s. So it's still using the original PRR 152-pound rail, but it was all bent because of the way the dynamics work at the end. It warps the joints. So it's not, they're not supposed to be like like to have that thing at the end. That's not supposed to be there. That's bad. They haven't replaced them and fixed them.
There's only a small handful of places on the Amtrak system that still have significant stretches of jointed rail. The Vermonter route being one of them.
Or the sidings on the A line are jointed, still are.
Yes, that too.
But on the Harrisburg line, it was still good for 90 miles an hour, and it was heavily jointed. But like when I say heavily, I mean it was jointed, but not good, well maintained. So you're just going bump, and the train was just rocking back and forth. And I'm like, this is like you can make trains go faster, you can make trains feel faster.
Oh, and the chief route between Newton and Albuquerque.
That's smooth.
That's a lot of jointed.
But it doesn't feel it because there's no freight, you don't have the hammer action, so the rail is just all nice and smooth. But they're CWRing it. That just shows how little maintenance you need when you don't run freight. Because I remember they were like, that was always the issue that the 3 and 4 were the only things that used that line.
Yeah.
And BNSF was like, well, when the tracks wear out in like 5 years, like we won't maintain it. Like we're not maintaining it again. Like, whoa, you don't have to maintain without freight. You don't have to maintain this like once a decade. That's amazing. So I wanted to get this route because between Culpeper and Orange, you get this nice flat Piedmont fast zone, and then as soon as you hit that Orange, you're into the sort of the woods again. So what I'll do is I'll throw that on the charger, and then I'll hopefully have everything charged up for Charlottesville to Lynchburg, and then Lynchburg to Roanoke.
So the Lynchburg Sunday should meet 20 and 156. Between Charlottesville and Lynchburg should meet 20 and 156.
Nice. Paying attention to the signals. Yeah, it was nicer when they had the southern stuff. Apparently, from what I heard, the Southern Railroad would construct the Southern style signal bridges where it's like a beam and a beam and a beam. Someone mentioned that they constructed those out of box cars. That they were the boxcar frames. That was the cross member. They pulled those off of box cars.
Yeah, Southern had some ingenuity like that.
Southern used to have, behind the New York Central and the ATSF, was also one of the largest users of automatic train stop, the inductive kind. From what I read, the ICC let them remove it so that in exchange for installing more CTC. So I guess this would have been a double-tracked Rule 251 main line. And when they went to CTC, the Southern let the ICC let them dump their ATS. Which I think was been in the earlier 60s, because after that they just let everybody dump it.
How fast do you think Southern trains went on this stretch in like the 50s?
Oh, I have no idea. The weird part is, if you look at the official documentation, almost every what do you call those, interlocking chart always lists the speed at 70. It's almost always 70, 50. But there was no speed checking. You didn't get, like, the FRA really didn't get involved with like making sure people didn't go faster than the timetable until after chase. So trains could make up time because they would just go as fast as they felt was reasonable. And a lot of the times you would even have the timetable to only list restrictions. Just be like, just these curves. Everything else is like whatever you need. Now, when diesel, that did go away in the 40s and 50s, because in steam you really just couldn't go more than 70. That's just how fast they went. The part of steam that people tend not to get is it's not the horizontal speed, it's how much the reciprocating action of your rods and linkages are going very much. That's when you have a run. It's like people are like, oh, he's getting wheel slip. How cool is that? It's like, no. When you get wheel slip in a steam locomotive, they keep going faster until the rods all fly off. That was why there was such a problem on the PRTs, because they could immediately start, one set starts slipping, and if the engineer didn't immediately hear it, the wheels go faster and faster until they felt they flew apart. This is just what happened.
One of my favorite railfan experiences was a friend and I volunteered on the Joliet rocket behind 765.
Oh, nice.
In South Street and Joliet on Metra, and we got to ride. There's two round trips out back, from Joliet to Chicago and back. And then after dropping off the last evening passengers in Joliet, we got to deadhead back to the rocket yard.
Oh, nice.
And there was a thunderstorm, so I was setting up the dome car, the lights off, in a thunderstorm, going track speed on 765. That was
nice.
Pretty epic. We were going like 70.
But yeah, I don't know how much faster. I mean, they could, in theory, run it with the ATS. So I'm assuming at least 90, because it was also before you had FRA track classes.
Yeah.
It was all just sort of, a little less systematized, if that's the proper term. Now we're on the break. I think we're coming into there's an interlocking before Orange where it goes to double track, and then it'll go back to single track at Orange. So I think that we're coming into a diverging movement here. I guess should get the scanner.
NS and UP limit steam to 40 now, but Metra.
What?
NS and UP limit steam to 40.
What? Why? I thought NS was cool with steam.
They are, but they limit it to 40. But Metro let us go up to track speed.
That's ridiculous. I mean, UP is the one that runs steam. Like, why would they want to limit themselves to 40? Well, I mean, honestly, a lot of their stuff is already. I mean, most of their lines already limited to 50. I don't think a big boy is really designed to go much faster than 50 anyway. Oh, it's just a curve.
Yeah. I think it's the Rappahannock River.
Yes, that would be the Rappahannock. Is it?
I think so.
I'm actually not sure, because I think the Rappahannock is actually that truss bridge, where he commented on the truss bridge. You can check it, because I've looked that up before, and I'm like, oh, wow, the Rappahannock's really small here.
I mean, towards its headwaters, it is very small. No, that was the Rapidan.
Yes, the other one's the Rapidan. And the Rapidan's much smaller, but at that point...
CP Rapidan. And the town of Rapidan.
There, so this is the... that's original, as in the Southern... The Southern installed that. So now we're on the Orange cross. So I'm gonna kill this at Orange. This was just a fun little taste, but I'll get the thing plugged back in. Always be charging. I didn't know. Do you have a plug that you see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, ABC. Always be charging. There might be an intermediate. I think there is. It's not.
Yeah.
Conrail loved its.
The interlocking pass switch, you have to be on this side to go on NS and that side to go on Buckingham Branch.
Again, because that Orange only had a trailing crossover. Well, for us, yeah, it only has it in one. Yeah, that's trailing. Yeah, I don't know enough on CSX versus NS. You ask 8 different people. Some people were swelled by NS. Some people. I think it honestly matters what division you're in. Former Conrail NS seems to do a pretty decent job. But again, as soon as you get a management shakeup, you have someone who is like a longtime manager. Suddenly, that region is going to go south. I think the dispatch consolidation is also may be playing a part in this. That they lost a lot of quality dispatchers. First off, the dispatchers don't know the territory since they're all in Atlanta. Second, people who didn't want to move to Atlanta just bugged off. So you lost like everyone who actually knew how to run the railroad. And then especially if you're new, you're not going to...
Is there any Class 1 dispatching that's not centralized at this point?
I think that CSX is still running the Albany shop, but I'm not 100% sure. Let me think here. I think that Union Pacific actually runs more. I know that they have their big Omaha operations center, but I actually think they have a couple of other dispatching centers as well. I think they have something in Little Rock. I'm not 100% certain. But CSX has bounced back and forth. They used to be 100% Jacksonville, then they decentralized it, and they re-centralized it. There it is. Yeah, now we're on the. Oh, we're slowing down a lot for Gordon. Ooh, I wonder if we're waiting for someone. That's the I'm on approach vibe.
Yeah. It would have to be freight.
Yeah, because there's that single track portion south of here, so. Huh, now we're speaking. What's going on here? I have my GPS, so I don't know if we're going exactly 30 now. It feels like 30.
I've got.
Yeah, you can pull up something. I love using Waze on here, where it's like, especially on the NEC.
Speed box. Let's see. So reconnect. $38.
Okay.
40.
I'm pretty sure medium speed on this is 30, but I think you can actually have medium speed like up to like 40 or something. Like there's some railroads that have that that fiddle around with that a little bit. Like
Is it different for passenger versus freight?
You can. I know that there's stuff where some places have limited speed up to like 50. Caltrain does. I could have sworn I've seen stuff with.
What is limited speed on the NEC?
45. That's the NORAC thing. Some places it might even be as high. There's other ones where it's just like advanced approach. You have like advanced approach commuter or passenger on like the old Southern, which is now UP, and that's where it's like freight goes to like 40, but passenger can stay at 60. That's fair.
We got it clear.
I don't know what that was about.
People on their front porches.
I've been physically at Orange a couple times because I would go to I'd go to Charlottesville to see some lacrosse games occasionally. So I was out here once.
So a couple of times ridden Greyhound DC to Charlottesville, and they take 95 and stop at Fredericksburg, but then they take a variety of different 2-lane routes between Fredericksburg and Charlottesville.
Oh, they got people out at the station.
And I think one time he came through Orange on the Greyhound.
Here we go. Oh, so when I was at Orange, one last anecdote, I actually got sound recording of the old Buckingham branch. They were using a CTC, like a relay-based CTC, and all the updates go to every station, and I got sound of it. But at the time, my camera, when I was offloading the stuff, it like screwed up the report. I have like this corrupted file, like nothing. I can't find anything that'll read it, but I lost that sound recording. So I'm so angry because it's it was like a live CTC update. It wasn't applying to the station I was at, but it's like a party line. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this now.